One has been forgettable, but two coaches have high hopes for the future, with Quincy Carter at quarterback for the Cowboys, Fred Wakefield on the D-line for Arizona, DeJuan Hawthorne on the corner for Dallas, and David Boston, a superstar at age 23, Troy Hambrick, the future at running back for Dallas, and Ray Thompson at linebacker for Arizona, and Mario Edwards, the other Dallas corner. Youth reigns as the sun sets on this long-time matchup. Welcome to Tempe, Arizona at Sun Devil Stadium for an NFC East battle. The Dallas Cowboys take on the Arizona Cardinals. Happy holidays, everybody. I'm Ray Bentley along with my partner Jeff Lageman. And Jeff, this will be the last time these two teams meet as division rivals because Arizona moves to the west. And I say rivals, but are they?
Yeah, I don't think I'd use that term rivals because it seems that Dallas has owned this series matchup no matter where the Cardinals have been.
But both of these teams have been eliminated from the playoffs officially this year, so now you play to try and gain momentum for next season and also to get your young guys experience. But Dave McGinnis has been doing that all year.
Yeah, he has, and he termed himself the juggler because he's had to make so many game time decisions as far as who's going to play right before the game. But the two bright spots for the Arizona Cardinals have been quarterback Jake Plummer, who's taken every snap for this football team this year, and 237-pound wide receiver David Boston, who is leading the league in receiving yards. He's a tremendous player, and at age 23, who knows how good he's going to be.
Dallas Cowboys all to a man talked about Dave Boston. We've got to be able to stop him. But that's the thing the Cowboys have done well. They've played good on defense.
Yeah, that's been the bright spot for them. But they took a step back, Dave Campo felt last week in their loss to Seattle, which the score was 29-3. And he's looking for his team to rebound here today. And in this day and age of parity, who knows what's going to happen next year if you can get some momentum.
It is the 80th meeting in this series, dominated by Dallas. But Arizona has beaten Dallas the last two times here at home. Kickoff is coming up next. Partly cloudy day here at Sun Devil Stadium in Tempe, Arizona. We are getting close to kickoff. Let's check some of the scores of earlier games. You see Chicago up on Washington in the fourth quarter. Pittsburgh all over Detroit. The Giants 3-point lead on Seattle. Tampa Bay beating New Orleans up pretty good, and then St. Louis over Carolina. And another few other games that we'll look at. Jacksonville all over Minnesota in a final there. Atlanta holding on over Buffalo. Kansas City beats San Diego, and Baltimore up on Cincinnati, pitching a shutout are the Ravens. Look at this NFC playoff picture, Jeff, and it's starting to become a little clearer.
Yeah, it's starting to become a little clearer, and this was the game in which the Arizona Cardinals were holding out hope that the New Orleans Saints would win because that was their last chance to stay in the playoff picture, and Tampa just hammers New Orleans. And New Orleans is definitely on their downward slide. It's next best. They're way out. They're way out. They're not playing the kind of football that you'd like to play in December. But the team right here, though, that's the team to beat. The Rams, they're just tremendous. Their defense is so improved over last year, and their offense is just as high-powered as ever.
Micah Nord a kick, and it is Michael Pittman who is deep. Marte Jenkins, the usual return man for Arizona, out with injury. So Pittman will return this kick. And he takes it from the 4-yard line. And Pittman takes it up to the 28-yard line, a 25-yard return. The Cardinal offense ranked 12th in the NFL. Up front, Shelton, Dishman, Grudadoria, the rookie Leonard Davis, and Anthony Clement. Backs and receivers, Boston, who, as Jeff said at the top, leads the NFL in receiving yards. Frank Sanders on the other side, Pittman and Makovica in the backfield, and Steve Bush is the starter at tight end, and Jake Plummer. You see the numbers the last 5 games. Plummer has turned it up a notch.
And Dave McGinnis said that he might come out with 3 wide receivers, and he has.
And the first pass intended for Boston is incomplete. Mario Edwards getting the defense for the Cowboy defense, which is ranked 4th in the NFL. Zellner, Noble, Myers, and Ellis. Ellis, the sack leader, with 6. Coakley, Wynn, and Marcus Steele, who returns after missing last week with injury. And in the secondary, Edwards and Hawthorne, the corners, Teague and Woodson. couple of veteran safeties. 2nd and 10. And Pittman on the trap, and he is met in the backfield by Michael Myers.
And this has been the one consistent, like we said at the open, for this Dallas Cowboys team is the defense. This defense is tremendous. Michael Myers and Greg Ellis leading the way up front. And Michael Myers, the last time out, did pretty well against Leonard Davis, the rookie offensive guard for the Cardinals. He was excited about the last game going against the big rookie from Texas.
The Cardinals have struggled on 3rd downs, as you see. 29th in the NFL. This one a 3rd and 10. 3 receivers at the top. Plummer from the shotgun. And Plummer is sacked. And that's Byron Frisch. First sack of the year for Frisch.
And the credit for this sack needs to go to the secondary. The coverage was fantastic. This is Byron Frisch. He's going to go all the way around L.J. Shelton, and the only reason he's able to get there is because Jake Plummer doesn't have anybody to go to. The push up the middle with Greg Myers and Ellis are not all that great. But Frisch just has the time to go all the way around the outside.
So Reggie Swinton back to receive the Scott Player punt as Arizona goes 3 and out with their initial drive. Swinton with the fair catch, and he makes it at the 39-yard line. A nice 42-yard punt and no return. And the Cowboys will come out on offense. And they are ranked 29th in the NFL up front. Adams, Allen, Stepnoski, Garmin, and Page. The Rocket, Raheem Ishmael and Joey Galloway, 2 fast wide receivers. Emmitt Smith and Troy Hambrick in the backfield. Jackie Harris is the tight end. And Quincy Carter making his 6th start. The rookie out of Georgia, and he has come on a little bit of late. Although he had a tough time last week in Seattle.
Yeah, he threw an interception for a touchdown, and he threw about 3 other balls that should have been picked off.
And Carter, play action, and that ball is batted. Fred Wakefield. And Wakefield has 7 batted passes, make that 8 now on the year. And Wakefield's a part of this defensive line that is just getting it done for Arizona. You got Burke, Tanner, Davis, and the rookie Wakefield. Linebackers, Fredrickson, McKinnon, and Ray Thompson. And in the secondary, Corey Chavis and David Barrett are the corners. Tillman and Lassiter, the safeties. 2nd down and 10. Cowboys from the I formation. Blitz comes. And Smith is trapped in the backfield. Wakefield again. 2 plays in a row by the rookie out of Illinois.
And Emmitt Smith's not happy after last week's game with the number of carries, and on this one he can't be happy either because Wakefield at the left end position runs a stunt with Russell Davis and comes up underneath of him and makes the play for a loss. Emmitt Smith is obviously frustrated, and head coach Dave Campos said a lot of that frustration stems out of the lack of a true fullback because, as we know, Ray Hambrick is no fullback. That's a guy that should be a tailback.
Yeah, he's a pretty good tailback, I'll give you that. 3rd and long. Carter dumps it to Harris out of the backfield, and Jackie Harris breaks a couple of tackles, but he has run out of bounds short of the 1st down.
And Quincy Carter is playing with a rib cartilage strain today. He's got it wrapped up a little bit. He said he was planning on taking a couple painkillers prior to the game to get him through the game, but he said it's not that big of a deal. And I talked to him right before the game. I said, is it loosened up? He said, yeah, it's loosened up pretty good. Wade Wilson felt that it was not going to be an issue for him today.
Arnold Jackson back to return the Micah Noor punt. Jackson with a 12.1 return average has done a nice job. And Noor, a low liner, a returnable ball, except that it bounces and now is touched by the Cowboys, so it's a freebie for Jackson, and he runs it out of bounds. A 42-yard punt, a 3-yard return, and no score here with 12:07 left. Arizona with the football. So far, no offensive activity to speak of. 0-0 here in the first quarter. Both teams with a 3-and-out series. And Jake Plummer, who actually has more touchdown passes than interceptions, which is the first time in his career. He's +3 in that department, and he's done a much better job of of operating this offense.
He has, and big reason for that is offensive coordinator Rich Olson, and also quarterbacks coach Jeep Christ, who was his quarterbacks coach back in '98, which was Jake's best year.
Multiple shifting by the Cardinal offense. Reverse. Here comes David Boston. Plummer throws a block. But Boston is run out of bounds by Mario Edwards. Jake Plummer, he's blocking as well.
I mean, you always get nervous anytime your quarterback makes blocks, but, you know, the players really rally when they see that kind of effort out of their quarterback. Jake Plummer turns around. Once the ball gets to David Boston's hand, there's Jake trying to make the cut block on Marcus Steele. It doesn't do a very good job, but the effort's there. You know, and that's what the players get excited about seeing. And obviously, they want to get the ball in David Boston's hands as many creative ways as possible because he is such a threat.
Off of 1, 2nd and 11. Cowboys blitz, and it's out quick to Makovica, and he takes a shot from Woodson.
And Makovica, Joel's got to be careful. Now, last week he suffered a concussion in the game at the Giants. You know, so here's a guy that's one of the many battled and bruised for Dave McGinnis' squad. You know, and also talking about banged up and bruised up is center Mike Grudadoria, who in practice during the week ended up having a stinger, and it wouldn't ordinarily worry a lot of people, but last year he had C6 and C7 in his neck fused after a ruptured vertebra.
3rd and 9. Plummer throws it outside, and it's knocked away. That's Pat Dennis falling off in a cover 2, breaking up the 7 route.
And that's a tough throw. And actually, Jake had Tywan Mitchell open on the other side. And all it is a levels route. They want to make Larimore make a decision between these two guys, either short or deep. And they would hope that he would make the decision to cover the short guy to be able to complete the long one. But a great job by Pat Dennis.
And the second punt of the day is caught by Swinton, and he goes down immediately at the 49-yard line. And the Cowboys will come back with excellent field position. Fox NFL Sunday, then Jeff Garcia and the 49ers visit an old bitter rival as they take on Emmitt Smith and these Cowboys, plus other regional action. Coverage begins at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific, here on Fox. Ishmael in motion. They run a toss to Emmitt Smith, and Smith with a cutback. Had a hole briefly, but it closed quickly.
Number 22, Emmitt Smith, the ball carrier.
And that's a play that we talked about with Dave Campo, that they like to run with Emmitt Smith.
Calls that the Nebraska toss, and a little different. Right in front of Emmitt Smith is fullback Terry Witherspoon in for Troy Hambrick. Now, this is at the point of the year. The playoffs are out. There's no possibility of that, so Dave Campo, along with McGinnis, are going to be looking at a lot of different players. And so they brought Terry Witherspoon up off the practice squad. And head coach Dave Campo said, you know, he might not know exactly where to go, but he's going to hit something.
Yeah, he might not know who to hit, but trust me, he'll hit somebody. Complete to the tight end Harris, his second catch of the day, and very close to the first down. I believe it is a first down, the first one of the ball game. Adrian Wilson on the coverage.
Quincy Carter had a bad day at the office last week, and today head coach Dave Campo was excited about seeing him come out. He said, you know, when he was at Georgia, when he had a bad day, the next week he always came back with a real strong outing, so he was expecting Quincy to have the same kind of day here today.
Cardinals show blitz, and Rocket is hit by Wakefield. Another big play by Fred Wakefield as he stops Ishmael on the reverse.
Wakefield starting this day out like gangbusters. Batted ball, tackle for a loss on Emmitt. Now this second tackle for a loss. As you can see, Ishmael going in on the little, it's not really a true reverse, it's more is it just a wide receiver sweep. Trying to utilize his speed to get to the perimeter of this Cardinal defense, which has been suspect for this football team all year long, especially with all the injuries at the defensive end spot.
Second very long. Carter from the shotgun. Goes down the middle. Flag is down as well, as Adrian Wilson was getting physical with Rocket Ishmael. And the preliminary call is holding on the Cardinal defense, and I believe it was Wilson.
Holding. Number 22, defense. 5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Adrian Wilson, one of the young secondary players for this Arizona Cardinal football team, a rookie out of North Carolina State, their 3rd-round draft pick. Actually looks like he made a tackle on that play. I don't even know if I call it holding. He should have called tackling.
And he missed the tackle as well. He couldn't get Ishmael on the ground. So it's the second first down of the drive. Cowboys penetrated Arizona territory, and they run the draw. And Smith is stopped again for no gain. And that's Russell Davis and Wakefield over there.
And this is what Emmitt does best. Remember back into the days of Daryl Johnston leading him up into the middle. As you can see, Terry Witherspoon taking on Ronald McKinnon. But, you know, the one thing that you got to remember when the Cowboys are trying to do this against the Arizona Cardinal defense, they've had a lot of injuries and have had, in fact, today is their 13th different starting defensive lineup. But the one consistent has been their inside guys. Their 2 defensive tackles, Tanner Davis and their middle linebacker McKinnon, and the middle linebacker McKinnon.
2nd and 10. Complete outside, and a fumbled football. Galloway gets back on it. And Kwame Lassiter over there with the defense. Galloway wide open on that slant route. Lost the football and got it back.
And this is just a simple three-step route. Galloway just runs about 4 or 5 steps up the field and bends it in. And as you can see, David Barrett does a nice job of getting his hands right around the ball and popping it out. Good thing Galloway recovered that one. That's, you know, when you're a wide receiver or anybody carrying the football and you fumble it, you better have the best effort to get that ball back. And it's a smart play, obviously, by Kwame Lassiter trying to go in and knock Galloway off the ball before he could recover it. He's been their best player for this Cardinal defense all year long is Kwame Lassiter.
Well, Galloway fumbled it, recovered it himself, so the ball's marked at the spot of the recovery, and that was enough for the first down. And Emmitt Smith with positive yards for the first time. Give him 11. Speaking of Emmitt Smith, he was a little disenchanted this week. Last week against Seattle, didn't have any kind of ball game. He felt like he didn't get the ball enough. 13 carries, and then they didn't run the ball well, and he's worried about his 1,000-yard streak.
Yeah, and then that to me, that sends a bad message to the rest of the team when you complain about the number of carries that you have. I mean, this is a team sport. Everybody understands that Emmitt's going for the record, but for a young football team like the Cowboys are, it's not a good thing to have him say.
Option, Hambrick. First down inside the 5. 11 yards for Hambrick. Corey Chambers ran him out of bounds, but a little option play from Quincy Carter. Very nicely run.
Yeah, real nice play, and there's really no intention of having Quincy Carter handle that ball. And this is the guy, as far as why Emmitt Smith's carries are down, Troy Hambrick. Because Troy Hambrick is a good running back. In fact, he's 3rd in the NFL in yards per carry with a yards per carry of 5.2. There's a lot of people out there that think he should be the guy getting the bulk of the load, including former Dallas coach Jimmy Johnson.
Smith back in. Squeezes down inside the 2-yard line.
And I would agree with the concept of, hey, you know, you've got to get the guy in there that's having the most success. And if you look at it just from a plain number standpoint, you know, how can you argue that number right there, 5.2 per carry with Troy Hambrick? Emmitt Smith has
been a great player.
Has been a great player, but to give him the ball just because of past greatness, in my mind, doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I think he still warrants handing him the ball, but I think Troy Hambrick has earned the right to get the bulk of the carry.
Smith stopped short of the goal line by that's Johnny Rutledge.
Emmitt Smith, the ball carrier.
And the Cowboys trying to pound it in here on the ground.
And if you're at the goal line, anybody that watches a lot of football will know that that's the guy that you want to run behind is Larry Allen. And he is, in my mind, the best offensive lineman in football. There's not many guys right in the offensive line or defensive line where I can sit there and watch every play in a football game, but Larry Allen is one of those guys. He's tremendous.
Third and goal from the 1. Emmitt Smith. He's bottled up short. Chavis and Tillman combined for the stop. And now Dallas has to make a decision. They're offsides. Look at the Cardinals.
And you know, it's very rarely that they'll call that around the goal line, but there's just nowhere for Emmitt to go where he was trying to go. The ball should have been cut back a little bit to where he had somewhat of a hole. But Corey Chavis and the rest of this Cardinals defense, this is big. This is real big for this defense because they haven't done a great job in stopping the run, and Dallas is going for it on 4th down.
Play action by Carter. Quincy Carter stopped short.
No signal yet.
Carter pleading his case, but they marked him down short of the goal line.
And Fred Wakefield right here does a great job. Or not Fred Wakefield, but Rob Frederickson, and McKinnon misses him. But Quincy Carter loses the ball when he's trying to get it stretched out to the goal line. That's a good call.
So the Cardinal defense holds, and they'll take over on the 20. Cardinals defense forces the fumble by Quincy Carter that rolled out of the end zone, and that's why it's a touchback. Arizona with the ball. First and 10 at their own 20, and a flag comes out before the snap. It's a false start on Arizona.
Prior to the snap, false start. Number 87 offense. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
Go back to that touchback and a fumble by Quincy Carter on the scramble here.
And it was actually a caused fumble by Maltosi. Comes in with his left arm and punches the ball out, and there it is. It's out before it gets near the goal line. And what happens is you'll see it starts to dribble out through the end zone.
And once it touches that line in the end zone, that becomes a touchback, and that's why Arizona had the ball out at the 20 rather than right there at the 1. Plummer with time, drops it off, and it is knocked away from Makovica, and we'll knock it away to Los Angeles. Here's JB with a game break.
Hey, Ray, take a look at the game winner, Chicago and Washington. Fake field goal by the Bears. It's Brad Maynard, the punter, who was holding. He tosses a touchdown to Brian Urlacher. They go on to knock off the Redskins and knock the Skins out of the playoffs. Jay Feely keeps Atlanta in the playoff hunt with that 52-yard game winner. Atlanta wins it by 3. Hey, Ray, when is the last time you've seen Terry Bradshaw in pink pants, buddy?
I promise not to tell. Other than this morning on the pregame show. Pittman picks up 6 to the left side, but there is a flag down as George Teague makes the play. And this one will go against the Cardinals as well.
And DeJuan Hawthorne was on the ground and jumps up, given the throw the flag motion. He seemed to think that it was some kind of
holding. Number 83, offense. Half the distance to the goal. Repeat, second down.
Bill Levy, the referee today, and Tywan Mitchell committed that foul. And that's 2 plays, 2 penalties for Arizona in this drive.
That's Tywan Mitchell right there on Byron Frisch. And that's it right there. When Byron Frisch tries to release and Tywan Mitchell holds on, you got to let go. Good call.
Boston catches the slant. 14 yards. And the Dallas defense, the last 2 games prior to this one, had trouble in the first 2 drives. Well, today, you look at that, they've only a negative minus 9 yards on the 6 plays, 2 3 and outs.
And in last week in Seattle, this defense was pushed around. Ricky Waters ran up and down the field early in that ball game over this Dallas defense, and they did it. Seattle did it with 3 wide receivers to spread this defense out. And Darren Woods had said, we worked specifically on that all week in practice.
Blitz comes. Plummer gets it out to Boston, who drops the football. And you got to think David Boston heard some footsteps.
And David Boston wants to play well in this ball game. Has a lot of family in Dallas and friends watching this ball game. And here's Isaiah Reese coming up on the blitz and gets picked up by Leonard Davis, and David just can't hang on to the ball. And that was a very catchable ball. David has his brother Byron's a Dallas policeman. His sister Alicia's a Dallas attorney. Has lots of friends and family in Dallas, and would like no game other than this one to play very well.
2 drops already for David Boston as Swinton. Reggie Swinton now with just a kicker to beat, and he beats him, and now he's caught from behind by a hustling Pat Tillman. But a huge return for Reggie Swinton.
I talked to Reggie Swinton before the game, and he was in camp with me in Jacksonville, and he said that I am so ready for this game after my performance last week in Seattle, in which he had a drop pass, a tripping penalty, a punt return fumble, a kickoff that he should have let go of bounds. He had as bad of a day as you could have, and he was looking forward to this game today to make amends for last week, and he did a good job of getting a start on that with this punt return right here.
45-yard punt, a 43-yard return by Swinton sets the Cowboys up. 1st and 10 to the 23. Carter on the option and decides not to pitch it out to Emmitt Smith, and Kwame Lassiter covers him up, but not until Carter picks up 7 yards.
This is the same play they ran to Troy Hambrick, but this time Emmitt Smith is the intended pitch guy. But look at the alley that Quincy Carter has. He's got no other option other than to keep it himself. You know, Quincy Carter's not one of these lower his head and try to get extra yards kind of guy. He's a smart quarterback, and he will slide.
Kelvin Garman, injury timeout. Second-year man Kelvin Garman out of Halton, Texas. Baylor University out. Matt Lair fills in for him at the guard spot. 2nd and 4. And they run the toss, and this is Emmitt Smith. And Smith, with patience, gets the 1st down. Take a look at that play where Garman got injured.
And it was actually the block by Larry Allen against Baron Tanner. Watch what Larry Allen does with Baron Tanner. He pushes him down and actually comes right down on the right leg of Kelvin Garman. Kelvin Garman's a guy that head coach Dave Campo felt has needed a push this year, and that was the big reason as to why Aaron Gibson, when he came to the Cowboys, was at guard for a bit of time.
And indeed it was a 1st down. And the Dallas Cowboys have really had great starting position so far, but they have yet to capitalize on it. I mean, look at this. The Dallas Cowboys average drive start is in Arizona territory at the 44.
Couldn't ask for a better field position than that. And in for the injured Kelvin Garman is rookie 5th-round draft pick out of Virginia Tech, Matt Lair.
Smith and Hambrick in the backfield. Draw, Emmitt Smith. And that's Rob Fredrickson coming up and making the play from the linebacker spot on the draw. And Fredrickson's an interesting guy. Here's a guy that's really not even practicing anymore because his knee, he bruised the kneecap, but yet they bring him out and let him play every weekend.
He's been banged up. He's been banged up a lot. When you get to this point of an NFL season, a lot of your veterans can do that because they've been around the block long enough where they don't need the practice reps to perform every week on a Sunday.
He's the 3rd leading tackler on the team with 108 coming in. Carter with all day to throw it, throws across the grain, incomplete, looking for his tight end as Jackie Harris. Coverage on the play by Fredrickson.
Talking with Jerry Jones before the game a little bit, asking him about his priorities in the offseason as far as positions that he felt that he would need to address, and it wasn't at the top of the list, but tight end was certainly one of them. Jackie Harris is not exactly young in his 12th year.
12th year, and he hasn't been that productive. 2 catches today, but just 9 coming in on the season. They run the scuttle pass to Wiley, and Wiley is stopped by Tillman and Sanyika.
Anytime you get a chance to watch Larry Allen play, it's exciting because he's so strong. He almost puts Sekou Sanyika on his back, but he does a great job of keeping his balance and recovering and helping out with the tackle along with Pat Tillman.
He was Sanyika was up on the tippy toes there for a second.
Larry Allen does that to a lot of people.
John Hilbert on for a 27-yard field goal. And this one is good. And the Dallas Cowboys draw first blood here. They're up 3-0. Close to the end of the first quarter. Dallas up 3-0. 5 seconds left here in the first quarter. And Micah Knorr has it teed up. And he'll kick it deep. Michael Pittman is back for Arizona. Knorr kicks it to the goal line. Actually, the 1 is where Pittman takes it. And Pittman up to the 28-yard line. That's the end of the first quarter with the score Dallas 3, Arizona 0.